Welcome back, everyone, to the Romans podcast, and we are back again with not much football to talk about once more. We are really, deprived for content at the moment with all the postponed games, whether it be for a frozen pitch, for a moved fixture date for a cup fixture, for a waterlogged pitch. The reasons go on and on and on. But one thing that has opened the opportunity for today is for us to talk about, bringing our first sort of debate show, I guess, with the show. And that's obviously, we have a lot of games in hand, the most games in hand out of any side in National League South at the moment. Bath have played 26, which is the least amount of games played out of any team in the National League South. And the most amount of games played in the National League South is 30. So our maximum games in hand we currently have over other teams is 4 games in hand, and that still looks likely to go up as well, with Hemel Hempstead at the weekend, a lot of rain forecast for that. Tottenham away next Tuesday, also rain forecast for that. There's a chance this current gap of 4 games in hand that we have at the maximum sort of amount of games can really catch on, But with that intro out the way, we introduce one of my co-hosts, Joe Buckland.
Hello, good to be back.
And we also introduce, once again, Chef Chris.
Hi, thanks for having me back again, guys.
The substitute host for whenever one of them's missing, because Ollie Charles today is out working, so he will be, unfortunately, missing out on his first episode this week. But we've got you both in to talk about a sort of debate, I guess. And the debate today is, in terms of Bath's survival fight in the National League South, our sort of relegation battle, do you think the amount of games in hand we're getting and the amount of postponed matches we're getting is a curse or a blessing to our season? I mean, if any of you wants to open up the point, be my guest,
Well, I think that it could actually be something of a blessing. It's something that we could take and use to our advantage, because what we're looking at is the table. It might not look brilliant right now, but we've actually got all these games that we can use if we want to, as mini finals that we can really move up. And it's something that we can use.
Oh yeah, I'm on the other side. I think it's a bit of a curse. I'd rather points on the board all day long rather than hoping that we're going to win these games in hand as if it's a foregone conclusion, because it's far from it. So...
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I guess on one hand, you can see that, with all these teams above us and below us playing more games, the amount of points that you need to get. The amount of points you need to get to move over a team. The amount of points you need to get to, move further away from the teams below. On the other hand, it's not guaranteed, as you said, that you're going to win the games. Like, even though the points you're going to get, it still puts the extra pressure on getting those points and winning the game. And I mean, I guess, the biggest qualm I guess we have with this is the fact that because the National League South are very unlikely to move the fixture date of the last fixture back, as it was previously, like last season with Truro, they were hoping for that to happen, and it ended up Truro had to play a game every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, like a game every 2 days. And we're a part-time team, it's going to be difficult having all these games close together, even if we know how much points we need to get.
Obviously, the congestion will be an issue. But at the same time, what this can give us is extra training time, which is something that we often sorely miss. And actually, when we're looking at Bath City's season, it's not regularly like big wins or big losses. It's these tiny little marginal wins, and actually building up a bit of strength and keeping our players from getting injured over a really hard period when the pitches are poor and congestion has been already quite bad. That could be really beneficial to the season.
Yeah, really good points. The only place I'm coming from is, as you said, each game then takes on an extra bit of pressure. It's like, as you said, it's like a cup final. And I don't want City players, staff, manager to. I'm sure they won't, but I don't want them to fall into a false sense of security, where they're looking at the table, going, "We got 4 games in hand. That's 12 points, so we should be at least 9 points better off. So our real position is 15th, say for example." And then you get complacent, and then suddenly those results don't come, and you are where you are, and you're still there without the games in hand. And that's my big fear, and that's the only reason I would rather we had played these games and we were sitting on 29 or 30 played with the points in the bag, and we've got a couple of draws and a couple of wins. And there's no guarantee that we would have, even if we played these games on time. But I just, like I say, it's sort of a false position in the league, isn't it? And I would rather the real position in the league without the we've got 12 points to play for, so we're going to be okay, But if you don't get any of those 12 points, you're suddenly not okay. And like I say, that is just my big fear for this season. I'm sure it won't set into their mindset, the players and the manager. I'm sure Darren will be drumming into them that, these they become must-win games, don't they?
It's really up to them to have, the mental fortitude to see them as opportunities, and each game take it as it comes, rather than seeing it as like guaranteed or that they can rest up in this game because we've still got 3 more to play. And it's about just taking it as it comes. And I think that they can do that.
Yeah, the old one game at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get 1 or 3 points on the board. Yeah, let's not lose the game. They do become games where you cannot lose, and that's that again, and that brings its own pressure in itself. And again, that is all. That's my only fear, is that they slip into it's okay because we've lost that one now. That was a game in hand, but we still got 3 more, so we'd be good. And then the next game comes along and we only get a draw, for example, and then we're not really climbing up the table here, guys, and our games in hands are running out. And I do not want to be in that position. I think you're really correct in it's an advantage. You can see what you need to get. You can look at it and go, right, if we get 9 points from the next 12, or 9 points will put us well into safety. We're not going down, and so they've got a target. And I do get that argument, and I do appreciate it. I'm Mr. Pessimistic at the best of times.
Yes, I think a lot of it probably comes down to, as well, the teams that we were meant to have played, when we'll be playing them in the future, what will they be playing for? That's
a great point.
That's a great point, yeah.
It could be a situation late in the game that, we play someone like Ebbsfleet, and they really want that game, and then that becomes a lot more difficult. Alternatively, some of these games, they may not have anything to play for, and so they might just not really care, especially if it's on a Tuesday night, which probably a lot of them will be, and you have less fans and you are tired, and it's just not the perfect conditions for them. And in those situations, it could be, again, a blessing or a curse, but I think a lot of it will probably come down to that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a well summed up point there, because like you said, mentioning what these teams have got to play for, you look at some of the games that have been postponed. Ebbsfleet was a key one that's come up there in a promotion fight. Maidenhead also, just like Ebbsfleet, they've come back down from National League and they want to get back into it. They could also be in a promotion fight. And also, Slough are another team in our sort of area who might fall back into the relegation battle too. So again, they'll have probably more of a clearer idea when we do eventually play them. I'm trying to work out what else has been postponed. Horsham again. There's so many different games to name here. Like Horsham also postponed. They're also in it for promotion too. So, all these postponed games, later on in the season, every team's going to have a clearer idea of where they are, and it's going to make it maybe easier for us because we know what we're playing for too, but also maybe a bit difficult. As you said, a blessing and a curse, you know what I mean?
They're not easy games. These aren't easy opponents that we've, so it's definitely not guaranteed points.
There's I was going to say, there's not much mid-table nothingness going on either this season. You're either in the relegation fight. I mean, if we're talking, you're looking all the way up to 13th, 14th, Dagenham and Tottenham. They're on 39 points. Now, if Bath win their game in hands, they go to 38 points. So that puts us then mid-table. But is that really mid-table, or will they be still in the relegation scrap? But it's really hard to tell as well. So, yeah, look, it's really hard to work out what we're going to need to get out of it. I think looking at that table, though, I think 3 teams might already be pretty much, I don't want to say it, but yeah, Enfield, Eastbourne and Chippenham are not looking healthy because they're on 28, 30 and 29 games played, and they're only sitting on 22, 22, 20. And then Farnborough in 21st are on 28 with 28 played. So I think it's them three and one other for the drop. It's a big, bold statement at this point. It's a lot of games to play. I get that. But
I think you're probably right about that.
If you're looking at it, you've got your non-Bath City head on. I'd look at that if I was looking at a neutral, and I'd be like, those three are gone. And then it's one from Farnborough, Hampton, Bath, Salisbury, and Slough. And then you can keep going up. Tonbridge, Dover, and then again, even Tottenham and Dagenham, all the way up to 13th. And they're still in it.
There's still a decent amount of football to be played. Really.
There's so much more of the season to go, and that's the thing.
And that's also mostly because of the postponed games. It also makes me think, talking from a general perspective for every team in the league, you might have to start questioning, because National League South, there's still not a lot of full-time groundsmen working there, that maybe in future a winter break is something that's generally on consideration for, because you'd avoid less, frozen pitches, less waterlogged pitches in the sort of more rainy, more frosty season. And then they can extend the actual season to May and have the playoffs played in June. I think in future that's something they definitely need to take consideration for, because I don't think anybody will be disappointed with a winter break. In fact, it actually might make more sense at this level, where a lot of players have other things to be doing. They've got a couple of weeks to spend time with the family, go on a break. And I know it would mean that, I guess you could still play your Boxing Day and your New Year's fixtures and then have the break after that, because obviously that's another thing people wouldn't want to miss. Like, those Boxing Day fixtures are so big for fans in this league, and so much money comes in from them. But it's just after that, but maybe all of January, just no games, and then that way there's going to be less postponed games. Obviously, we're still getting some in February, but you won't have all the ones in January that carry on to that, and that's a key thing.
Do you think it's about income? Because quite a lot of people go to games in the winter time.
Yeah,
Do you think if they extended the season, that would still be the case?
I think so. I think what it is, they could extend the season too without a break. That's of course the thing is, but winter time, I think all the games around Christmas and New Year period are busy, but I don't think it actually really carries on much further through January, really. I think the last busy game, I would say, this season would have been the Ebbsfleet game, and that game got called off. Or I guess Southend was moderately busy too, but again, that was another postponed game, and it wasn't as busy as it maybe would have been, And I guess it's also cup competitions that fall into that argument, like with, FA Trophy, like what are you going to do? Because the first two rounds have been played, a big gap, and then coming back to it might be a bit out of the blue. So maybe, just a season extension, and then leaving a few free Saturdays, a few free Tuesdays. The alternative is every side in the league goes 3G. And I don't think anybody wants that, because there is a good reason as to why 3G pitches are banned in the Football League, in the 4 divisions of the Football League, and that is because 3G pitches just are not that good. They're not that good for standard of football, really. They're fine for, just playing on casually, but every football fan wants to see a game played on a grass pitch.
There's also injuries often on those to ligaments and things.
Yeah. And there's also conspiracies that, I say conspiracies, more like theories, that they're carcinogenic as well. The sort of rubber you get in AstroTurf pitches has been linked to carcinogenic chemicals.
Oh, right.
That come from tyres. Yeah. That is very much that's a key thing, and it's goalkeepers who are most at risk for that.
Yeah, sure.
Moving on to this, because Tuesday night fixtures was mentioned, and it reminded me of this statistic that Bath City, obviously this sort of links to our games in hand, and all our games move to a Tuesday. We've played far less Tuesday games under Darren Way in the National League South since his appointment than we have Saturday games, obviously. But Saturday, we've played, so this is 26, and then that's 32 games. We played 32 games on a Saturday in the National League South with Darren Way. We've won 6, drawn 13, lost 13. And then on the other hand, we've played 12 Tuesday games. So, that's 32, 12, and on this Tuesday games, we've won 7, drawn 2, lost 3. So we've won more games on a Tuesday night in 12 than we have on a Saturday in 32.
It's quite a strange statistic,
That
isn't
is,
it? Why
yeah.
why is there such a discrepancy between? That's the answer, isn't it? That's the question, isn't it? Like,
I guess it comes down to who you're playing as well. And I think usually the league on a Tuesday night tends to do the nearby teams. And
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna sort of bring down the teams around us or anything, but I do think the weaker part of this league is the teams in the southwest area.
Fair.
Because I think Slough aren't that amazing. Yeah, except for Torquay, of course. Slough aren't that amazing. I don't think Salisbury are that good. I don't think Chippenham are that good. And I think
quite good.
Yeah, Western are all right. Yeah, that is true.
Oh,
I mean,
Western as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, also, just because these are, Tuesday games, doesn't mean that all of them have been quite nearby, because one of them was Tunbridge. That was a 1-1 draw. So, that's not to say that all the Tuesday games are nearby and all of them are fairly, easier opponents.
You also get a good atmosphere on a Tuesday night.
Yeah,
That's
the
true.
point
And I
was gonna
think
make,
it's an atmosphere-focused team,
The best night we've had all season for me was a Tottenham at home, 2-0. And we played them off the park, and they were sitting third at the time, and Tooting Park was buzzing, wasn't it? It was loud. It was loud the whole game. The atmosphere was electric. And I think
we had cheerleaders before.
Yeah,
the
we
game.
had cheerleaders.
I think that's what
I do
did it.
remember that. Yeah, I was like, game's gone, but yeah. But we played. They played out their skin, and was it the other Tuesday night? There was another Tuesday night we won at home as well this season, or was that the only one? I can't remember.
We definitely have. We did draw to Torquay on a Tuesday night.
Oh, that's the game I'm thinking of. Yeah, Torquay. So you put in an unreal performance on Torquay on a Tuesday night, and
beat Slough on a Tuesday night, beat Salisbury on a Tuesday night this season.
that was away. The Salisbury one, was it?
Yeah, both away.
Yeah,
Salisbury away, Slough away. And we probably have one more Tuesday night game at home. I'm trying to work out what that was.
Yeah, I can't think. Yeah.
I mean, there was one anomaly on the Tuesday night, and it was Maidenhead at home, and we lost that game 4-0. So it's just because we have got a better record on Tuesday night doesn't necessarily mean we're always better on a Tuesday night. But it is still an interesting statistic that with 12 games on a Tuesday night, we've won 7. With 32 games on a Saturday, we've won 6 under Darren Way. And I mean, that's quite a big statistic when you think about it. Only 6 wins on a Saturday in the National League South under Darren Way, 7 wins on a Tuesday.
I'm really surprised by that second statistic that we've only won 6 out of 32. I'm a little bit shocked hearing that. I didn't realise it. Then let's be honest, that's pretty poor, and I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest.
No,
I knew we were way better on a Tuesday night. I just knew that.
It's funny enough, when I wrote this stat, it was originally 5 wins, 13 draws, 13 losses, but I literally just edited it right now because I hadn't added the win against Worthing a few weeks ago. So I added that. With Worthing, it was 6 wins. Before Worthing, it was 5 wins on a Saturday.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow. Yeah. That's incredible. But yeah, maybe we're just a Tuesday night team. Maybe we're an evening team. We
need to postpone more games.
I mean, just think about it real quick. Bath City, we have a very young team. And on a Friday night, what are most young people doing?
Well, yeah.
They're out drinking. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying the team are out drinking. I don't think they would be irresponsible like that. But, end of the week, Saturday, in a very young team, there's a high chance they at least have had a bit of a celebration on a Friday, even if they do have a game the next day. But
or they've been up all night playing FIFA, like Sterling and all them. Sorry, Jadon Sancho. Yeah, he was always. People used to complain that he was up playing FIFA all night. So yeah, maybe there's something to that. I don't know. I'd like to think they were more professional and going to bed at 9 p.m. But that's just in my ideal world in my head.
I think at this level is to be anticipated that there'll be a little bit of a bending the rules.
Yeah, mate, that's fair.
Yeah, that's very true. But I mean, let's sort of ground it back down to the debate. So obviously, Chris, you're more in the favour of it being a curse with all these games in hand. Joe, you're more in favour of it being a blessing. Is there anything more that you have to say, I guess, about the sort of games in hand we've got?
Yeah, it's. I was gonna say can we move the games in hand to just purely Tuesday nights on the back of your statistics, please?
They probably will be.
They will be, actually, yeah of course. Because we haven't got any Saturdays free now till the end of the season. I just wish we weren't 4 games behind, say, like Dover and Eastbourne. And I wish we'd played a couple more games and we had the points in the bag. That's all. Just to reiterate what I said earlier.
Yeah, I guess it's always just more comfortable being higher up the table.
Yeah,
no
of
matter
course, yeah.
what part of the season. Because, we get, obviously we mentioned Hemel Hempstead and Tottenham. Our next few games might get postponed too.
Yeah.
If the teams below us don't get postponed and a few of them get results, there's a chance we fall into the relegation zone. And you never want to be in the relegation zone. Like, we could have 8 games in hand. That's crazy. 8 games, we can easily win a lot of them, but it's just seeing us in the relegation zone is not what you want to happen.
Demoralising.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
the other thing. It'd be really psychological. If we were to drop, say let's say we don't play Hemel on Saturday because Twerton's still waterlogged, and
I mean, you look at the teams that have dropped in the
Farnborough.
relegation zone. Like, the teams that have been in the relegation zone since the early part of the season. Chippenham have always been in there.
Yeah.
Eastbourne have always been in there. Enfield have always been in there. Farnborough have never really been able to claw their way out. Hampton and Richmond fell into it after a really good start to the season. A lot of the teams that are in the relegation zone right now have struggled to get back out of it again. And even if we do that with all the games in hand that we've got, it's still dangerous, because every other team that has fallen into the relegation zone around the sort of after every team has sort of set their position in the league. I say it's around sort of 6-7 games in, where you sort of start to see that. And once all the teams have settled into it after those early games, it is really hard once you're in the relegation zone to climb your way back out.
Yeah, that's the big fear. And if we don't play Hemel on Saturday and Hampton and Farnborough win, we're there. We're 21st. So yeah, and
you just want a game to be played and another win, really, don't you? Especially because our last league game was 2 Saturdays ago now, against Worthing, 2 weeks ago, 2 whole weeks, and that's not usually what you see in this part of the season. Obviously, we did play Street, recent Saturday. I mean, me and Chris weren't at that game, but I mean, I guess we can cap it off with saying how we played through Joe, who was there. He was our pundit.
Well, yeah, it was a good win, 5-0 and 4 goals from Jordan Alves. So an excellent performance, really, and through to the semi-finals. We'll take that any day of the week.
4 goals from Jordan Alves.
4 goals.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said 5 goals. Never mind.
No, we scored 5. He scored 4.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Didn't pay attention there.
I will just say though, I am worried about injuries with the congestion at the later stage of the season, and something to think about is if you get an injury now, it's quite easy to get in a player for half a season.
Yeah, I mean,
Someone
actually,
short.
that's another thing we need to get onto.
In April or something, if you get several injuries in April, it's going to be very hard to get someone in to fill that gap.
Yeah.
And that team is going to get very tired.
I mean, just getting onto that, because we have actually brought in 2 players in January, and that was obviously Jake Tabor, which is funny because we actually mentioned him in our last podcast about how we were surprised that he didn't actually come back on a loan, and now he has done. So it's almost like we, spoke that back into existence, I guess. And also Moses from Newport. So 2 new attacking players on a loan. Ash and Windsor out injured. We've got the attacking depth for the rest of the season. Tabor and Moses, we've got till end of the season now.
Yeah. No, that does improve our position.
Compared to where the squad was in, say, end of October, November, we were light on the ground. And now there's some depth there, like you say.
Need to extend Putman and
I was going to say
Shepherd.
Putman's got to stay.
Extend to the end of the season. I mean, I know it's obviously he's from QPR and they're a higher caliber team, I guess. But at the same time, you gotta we're near the end of the season anyway now. I'm sure it wouldn't hurt QPR whatsoever or QPR's youth team whatsoever just to extend him to the end of the season. There's a couple more months. Allow us to have him. He's enjoying his football here. He's improving fast here. I think it'll be great for him to extend the end. And I think Ruben Shepherd, even though we haven't seen as much from him as we have Putman, he's still, I think he's very much would help his career to stay here till the end of the season, I think.
The best way to develop is to play.
Yeah, very much so.
Putman will play, I think, every day.
I do think Swindon recalling Tabor was a great example of that, because the Swindon manager, I saw an interview with him saying I saw how Jake Tabor played in Bath's games against Tottenham and Slough, and I was really impressed. And I think he's very much ready, and the fans could get by him. It's very good that the manager's got confidence in him, but Tabor came back, didn't really play much minutes, and wasn't really improving. And then I think Swindon manager realised that, gave Tabor back to us, and now he's going to get minutes here. And QPR, if there's anyone in the executives from QPR listening to this for whatever reason, that's your reason to extend Potman to the end of the season here. Give him that game time.
You were there. I asked him in the clubhouse after Potman. I said, "Are you staying till the end of the season?" And he sort of gave me a cheeky smile, as if to say, "It's not off the table."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Tell me, mate, are you staying? Because you need to stay." And he just kept smiling at me. He wouldn't give anything away. He's quite. But I think it's on the cards. Yeah.
There is an issue though with the loan players, and that is that I know that during Jerry Gill's tether at Bath City, he was playing loan players that he'd have on loan for like a month or whatever, and he was starting to start them over our first team regulars. And I know that after a while, it does seem to annoy the first team players who are actually on contract and are supposed to be playing regularly. And I guess you look at Potman, he's a quality player, but if he starts consistently playing at right back over, Joe Rains, who's been a legend at our club for a long time, it might cause a bit of upset, not just with him, but with the other first team players, because they're like, are you trying to say these loan players are more, more skilled than us to take the teams to the end? And I mean, it's not necessarily that, but they will maybe start to think like that. They might maybe start to have a bit of a confidence downgrade if we do play loan players. But at the same time, it is good to give loan players. It's just about finding the balance, still playing your first team players, but also playing your loanees a lot, I think.
It's a balancing act as well, because the club that are loaning you the player, QPR will be telling Bath City, we've sent him to you to play.
Yeah.
So play him. And if then, like, we want him to the end of the season, and if then QPR say, well, if you're going to play him every game, then you can have him to the end of the season. But then that sits down Joe and as you say, we don't want Joe sitting down. Again, he's a class player. I don't want to say Putman's way better, and he's not way better, but he looks a better right back. I'm just going to call it as it is. And like I say, QPR will be saying, if we send him to you, you have to play him. Same with Tabor, Swindon, Holloway at Swindon will be saying, if you're going to have him, play him. I want to see him on the starting sheet, or I'm just going to bring him back and I'll have him in our reserves. So it's tough for Darren as well, because he's going to have the pressure from the loanee club saying, why are you benching why have we sent them to you? If you're not going to play them, why have we sent them to you? So it's really tough. I mean, I'd like to see Putman stay and obviously share the right back position with Joe. Maybe start alternate games. I don't know. But also, Joe can play up front. That's the
put him up front.
Just play him up front, because he's got one of the best right foots I've seen at this level, and he's a right back. I mean, have you seen
Pop him on the wing?
A couple of times this season, he's ended up going up front at the end of games.
I wouldn't necessarily say up front, but I do think maybe defensive midfielder. I think Tilson's a quality player. He's done a lot for us in the last couple of seasons, but his legs are starting to go a little bit more. And Rains has got more of that stamina that can push through. I think if you want to play Potman and Rains together, I think having Rains in defensive midfielder, I'm not opposed to, because he's great at moving forward. He can put in a tackle. He's got the legs. He's got the running. I think that might be an option to consider. Also,
you could play Potman on the wing. Just play him on the right wing. Play both of them on the right. Joe at right back, Potman at right wing. But
the senior club is probably not going to want him to be played out of position for where they want him to be developed.
But they don't get a choice. All they say is start him. Okay, we're going to start him at right wing. Okay. Joe up front, he's got a cracking foot. Honestly, I mean, he hit the bar the other week. It's probably a couple of months ago now. From like 30 yards, he just let fly, and I can't remember who it was against, but it bounced off the top of the crossbar and went over the back, and so I know he can play there, and I've seen Darren put him up there a few times at the end of games. So it's just something. It's just an option, It's just an option.
An option, maybe a more of an emergency option than a consistent option.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
But it looks like we have just about run out of time for the podcast today. So thank you, Chef Chris, for coming on again. It's been a sort of semi-debate podcast today because there's not been much football to talk about. Joe, excellent co-hosting again.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries at all. And yeah, we shall see you next week where hopefully there's a game to talk about. So thank you very much for listening and goodbye.